Today is Wednesday Bible study, and 7 people might end up watching, 10, maybe 15. We know this, that whoever's meant to watch it and watch the whole thing, that's the Lord's doing. And whoever's not meant to watch it's not meant to watch it. Maybe it's just not your day to watch that particular teaching. Doesn't mean you're not a sheep if you don't watch it. Doesn't mean you are a sheep if you do. So, but if you're here, glad to have you aboard. All right. Let's take a look. We are in Daniel 2, and it is going to start getting interesting. Hopefully you think it already is. They answered again and said, "Look, King, tell us the dream and we'll show the interpretation of it." And the king said, "Oh, I know you're just biding your time, because you see, I can't remember it. If you don't tell me the dream, I have only one decree for you. For these lies that you're making up here right before me. Therefore, tell me the dream, and then I can know that you can show me the interpretation." Again, I think I would have made something up. Now, Daniel 2, 7 through 14. We'll read it in New Living and see if I paraphrased it as well as they could, or as well as they did. New Living was what I was kind of raised on. It is a very watered down, corrupted text. The King James is better, but in some areas, the New Living is actually more understandable and written better in certain areas. In certain areas. The king replied, "I know what you're doing. You're stalling for time, because you know I'm serious when I say, if you don't tell me the dream, you're doomed. So you have conspired to tell me lies, hoping I will change my mind. But tell me the dream, and then I'll know that you can tell me what it means." So, hey, you saw me take the King James and do my best with it, because reading it to you is very difficult. It's very difficult for your ears to understand. Now that you've heard my version and New Living's version, let's try it again. The king answered and said, "I know of certainty that you would gain time, because you see the thing is gone from me. But if you will not make known unto me the dream, there is but one decree for you. For you have prepared lying and corrupt words to speak before me, till the time be changed. Therefore, tell me the dream, and I shall know that you can show me the interpretation thereof." You follow what I'm saying? It's pretty difficult stuff. Until the time be changed. The thing is gone from me. You pretty much understand. This is the King's English in the 1600s. It reads like poetry. I love it. But it is often difficult to understand, especially when you get into Paul's Gospels. Not so much, but boy, when you get into Paul's epistles, if you've been with me before on those, you know that I pretty much do the whole thing in New Living Translation. And if something doesn't look right, we just go back and double check it in King James. Let's try another verse. Oh, here we are, number 10. The Chaldeans answered before the king and said, "There is not a man on the earth that can show the king's matter, that can show the king what the dream is." In other words, we can't read minds. We can't read dreams. And later they're going to tell you those kind of things only come from demonic entities and fallen angels. But they simply say, the gods. "Therefore there is no king, lord, nor ruler that has asked such things at any magician, or we would say of any magician or astrologer or Chaldean, because that's pretty much what the Chaldeans were magicians and astrologers. Were the Chaldeans magicians and astrologers? Chaldean astrologers, Daniel 2 commentaries. Then the king orders, Daniel 4:7, the magicians, enchanters, astrologers. Then came in magicians, the astrologers, and the Chaldeans, the soothsayers. What are the 4 types of wise men in Daniel 2? So you get the idea. It's basically all the same thing. These were men that were contacting demonic entities. But anytime the Lord wanted to show his power, he allowed those demonic entities to be able to do nothing. He shut them down. And it is a rare thing that a king requireth, and there is none other that can show it before the king except the gods, whose dwelling is not with flesh. Folks, that is a very, very, very deep and interesting statement. This is why I tell you, when you couple that verse with Ephesians 6:12, that it's not flesh and blood who are your enemies, then at some point you have to understand what I tell you when I tell you that the script writers for this world are known as artificial intelligence. It's the ghost in the machine, per the album by The Police in 1981. It is the fallen ones in the technology. Yes. And that's what the mark of the beast is going to end up being. You're going to be uploading demonic entities through the technology into your body. Your body will be an avatar for the fallen ones. That's why you can't turn back once you take the mark. You're possessed. And every goat is going to take it, and every sheep will not. Preordained at the foundation of the world. For this cause, the king was angry and very furious and commanded to destroy all the wise men of Babylon. By the way, that included Daniel. You know what's coming, right? Guess who's going to save the day? Per the Holy Spirit. Yes. And this is part of the process that leads Nebuchadnezzar to being a sheep. The king of Babylon, called by the Lord. It's quite the process, though. And the decree went, well, like it's a process in all of us who are sheep, in hope of. And the decree went forth that the wise men should be slain. That's a death by a very unhealthy manner. Slain. There's nothing good about the word slain. It's not a peaceful death. And they sought Daniel and his fellows to be slain. Then Daniel answered with counsel and wisdom to Arioch, the captain of the king's guard, which was gone forth to slay the wise men of Babylon. Colon. Bum, 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 bum. We'll get to the rest of that tomorrow. Or not the rest of it. We'll get to like part 4 tomorrow. Y'all, one of my favorite Bible verses in all the Bible is Daniel 2:43. We're only on Daniel 2:14. Daniel 2 is a very, very, very long, detailed chapter. There's a lot going on in Daniel 2. Let's move on to Luke. And the servant said, Lord, it is done as thou hast commanded, and yet there is room. And the Lord said unto the servant, I hope y'all watched yesterday's Bible study. If you haven't, please go back and watch it to understand what this is saying, because it's pretty deep stuff. It's very detailed, and I think we taught it properly the day before and yesterday. And the Lord said unto his servant, again, these are parables, go out into the highways and to the hedges and compel them to come in, that my house may be filled. For I say unto you that none of those men which were bidden shall taste of my supper. So the ones that turned him down, parabolistically, they actually were not called. And we explained that in detail yesterday. For I say unto you that none of those men which were bidden shall taste of my supper. And there went great multitudes with him, and he turned and said unto them, if any man come to me, ooh, this is one of my favorite Bible verses in all of the Bible. If any man come to me and hate not his father, mother, wife, children, friends, brothers and sisters, female friends, male and female, in his own life, he cannot be my disciple. Does that mean an emotional hatred? No, you got to hate on them when they're breaking God's law. If they're celebrating the Christ Mass, paganism, Easter, you got to tell them, nope, ain't gonna do it. You got to hate on them straight up. And whosoever do not bear his cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. That's your death to self, your blood baptism. There's a lot going on there, folks. For which of you intending to build a tower sitteth not down first and count up the cost, whether he have sufficient to finish it? Lest haply, after hath laid the foundation, is not able to finish it. All that behold it begin to mock him, saying, this man began to build and was not able to finish. Or what king going to make war against another king sitteth not down first and counsel whether he be able with the 10,000 to meet him that cometh against him with 20,000? And that's talking about receiving counsel before you make big decisions to go to war. Don't you sit down and discuss that first with, that's why I like the president in theory. And trust me, it's just in theory. Would have a chief of staff, people that he would counsel with. What king would go to war with another king without first sitting down with his counselors to discuss whether his army of 10,000 could defeat 20,000 soldiers marching against him? Now, why would that even be a thought? Well, maybe those 20 aren't properly prepared. Maybe they don't have the same weaponry, maybe not the same training, weaponry, so on and so forth, defense gear. So that's why it's at least a discussion. All right. Love y'all very much. Any questions, just make them in the comments. All right. Love y'all. See you.